you're recruiting a teacher, they've got such an important role. Every single teacher that we place is going to have such an impact on so many different children. So the importance of getting it right is crucial.
I think that one thing Transform do really well is the mixing both worlds together. So we have the online element, but we do focus on that in-person element.
I think it all comes down to our core values. And our core values are transparency, integrity, and in simplicity.
The first ever Transform International podcast. How exciting. And today I'm joined with the main man himself, Marc Ashford, CEO.
Hi, this is super strange, but super exciting. It's all part of being in Transform, really, but brilliant news.
Transforming experiences.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It feels weird me interviewing you, but we'll see how this goes. So I think the only way to kick off this podcast and these sessions is to go back to where it all began.
Sure.
It's your brainchild. So What's the story? What's the background?
Well, let me tell you about my background first, because I think that's been a key instigator of where I've come from. I set up in Birmingham. I started in IT recruitment, believe it or not. The business was doing very well, but the IT recession happened and people were losing their jobs left, right and centre. The MD at the time decided to set up a rival company, and 50 of us applied for the job and only 5 of us got it. And there became a very powerful education business. Absolutely loved education. It suited my style. It was less aggressive. It was a lot more personalised. And I just really found my rhythm of where I wanted to be within the recruitment sector. 10 years later, I got headhunted by another competitor in Birmingham, where I became a director of the business and had a very successful period of my life where I helped grow the business. Business was fantastic, and I was very, very happy, and came to a point in my life where I felt that I was earning good money. I was had good friends. I had really good clients in Birmingham, but something there needed to change in terms of a bit of excitement, really. So I went for a walk in the park with a good friend, and he kind of said to me, "Have you thought about working over in the Middle East?" And I definitely hadn't. My uncle had worked over in Abu Dhabi about 20 years ago. My cousin still lives over here as well. So I'd kind of had a little bit of an insight to the Middle East, but not a lot to kind of realize what would hook me in over here. So I did a bit of research in terms of what's education like over here, and what contacts do I have already. And education is quite a small world, actually, and it's amazing. If you've got a strong network, then that network is not just within the UK. It's actually global, and it's amazing. So I decided in January 23 to set up Transform, and Transform Recruitment was born in 2023. It was an exciting period of my life. My business partner, who has significantly helped me along the way, he's had Middle Eastern experience from working in businesses over in the Middle East. He's been over here for 13 years, and he helped me culturally, how to behave, how to run a business over here, because it's very different to running a business over in the UK. Running a business in the UK can be a lot more aggressive, and it can be a lot more, trying to get past the gatekeepers, just for argument's sake. So over here, the hospitable nature and the willingness to actually work with new people has been phenomenal, and it's definitely suited my style. I've built up some strong relationships along the way, which has been great. But going back to when we first started the business, I think I was a very excitable child. I came out here a lot. I loved it. I just fell in love with the Middle East. I fell in love with Dubai. And part of that excitement, I just wanted to go and visit new countries and it was just an enjoyable moment in my life. We had very quick success with a lot of businesses. They bought into what we were trying to do, and in June 23, we had our first big placement, and it was with a reputable organisation as well. And from that moment, it gave us the confidence to say, yeah, this is going to be a success. And I really enjoyed that moment in time, really.
That's amazing. And it's crazy to think the whole transform part of that's 2 years old.
Not even 2 years old. So it's about 18 months. So
18 months. Yeah. It's just how fast things go. It's like, I think there's a really important point you touched on there, which is the locality. So there's a couple of questions I wanted to ask about education recruitment specifically, and then about cultural understanding as well. So let's unpack the first one. So education recruitment, you've been in it now for so long. What's unique about education recruitment as opposed to other industries? Like what's different about recruiting teachers, school leaders?
I think it's an easy one for me. When you're recruiting a teacher, they've got such an important role. Every single teacher that we place is going to have such an impact on so many different children. So the importance of getting it right is crucial. Not only making sure that they're an outstanding teacher, but also following safer recruitment guidelines set in the UK. I think the UK are very good at ensuring safe practice. And some of the practice that I've brought over with me, I feel that goes above and beyond ensuring that every single person that steps in front of those children are safe to work with children. So we go above and beyond in our searches and our screening, just to ensure that candidates are going to be right for those for the role, really. But in terms of education over here, I think there are a wide variety of schools, and I feel that what I might believe is an outstanding teacher might not be an outstanding teacher in every school. It's about trying to really understand the school. So us being over here, and we've got a team of 9 now in an office in Media City, and the reason why we've decided to be based out here, because the importance of actually going out and visiting schools and understanding what that school's all about gives them an idea of what kind of teacher's going to be right for their children. So our team are tasked to go out every single week. They go out and see existing clients. They go and see new clients. We cover the whole of the GCC. So we've got a team that go out to Saudi Arabia, to Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, and the UAE is a big presence for us as well. But by going out there, they can really identify who's going to be right for their school, who's not going to be right for their school. So in their head, who's going to be the best teacher, as I said, might not be the best teacher on paper. It might just be the right fit for them. And I suppose that also brings me on to our philosophy and how we do our recruitment. Historically, COVID has made everyone very efficient with the way recruitment has been done. Online interview became a good thing because it just made things a lot easier for people to meet somebody. However, it's also made people very lazy. It stops people from having that face-to-face interaction. And the problem by not having that face-to-face interaction, you can't look at that person in the eyes, and you can't then mitigate the risk of that person not being right for your school. So we've decided to run several recruitment events, and our recruitment events are designed to bring that face-to-face interaction back in. Last year, we ran 2 very successful events. Firstly, in Birmingham in the UK, where we had 150 candidates turn up with 8 schools representing 5 different countries across the GCC. And at the event, each school are given the opportunity to present 10 minutes about their school and why they should work in their school. And just to say, we had, as I said, 150 candidates in the room. And when we asked the question before, where would you like to work? At least 90% of them said Dubai. And as I said, there's nothing wrong with Dubai. I love Dubai. But the GCC has a lot to offer. And by these presentations, it gives them an opportunity to maybe broaden their horizons, that there is a lot more than just Dubai. And that's what happens at these events. But also we have various different activities designed as well that are designed to draw out personality traits from the candidates. And what this allows school leaders to do is walk around and bypass the CV and look at a candidate for their personality and to see whether they're actually going to be right for this organisation. So these have been hugely successful, so much so that in Birmingham we had 50% of the candidates at the event actually got placed. So we were absolutely delighted with those figures. We then ran a second event in London in April. And at this event, we had 260 candidates, so it was larger. Again, we had 10 schools representing the whole of the GCC. But it was exactly the same format, but we had exactly the same success rate. Over 50% of the candidates were actually offered. And I think one of the main reasons why our events had such a high success rate in terms of placement, I would say is down to the quality of our pre-screening. We have thousands upon thousands of candidates applying. However, we really focus on quality. One, we look at the schools that are attending and what vacancies they have, and we try and limit it to the candidates attending to fit within those vacancies, but also the quality of candidates. Any unplaceable candidates, unfortunately, won't be able to come to the event. We'll only look at it for our schools to look at relevant candidates that are going to be right for their organisation.
Yeah, there's an element there about the cultural understanding. So, we know that after the COVID period, the world, during their kind of embraced online and remote work and everything else, then there was a period of kind of like this hybrid model. Now we're seeing some industries really flipping back to the old ways, or the traditional ways, or the good ways, or however people frame it. I think that one thing Transform do really well is the mixing both worlds together. So we have the online element, but we do focus on that in-person element. And I think one of the challenges for this region is, in order to meet teachers from the UK or North America or Australia, wherever, is that they have to either come to you or you go to them. With online events, we've made that a lot easier with the personalization, but then also with our in-person events, that kind of like it's like a double jab, right? It's like two goes at it. When it comes to like the GCC region, what do you think is so unique about this region when it comes to schools and hiring educators as compared to like your experience in the UK?
I think there's a lot of attention to quality because we're able to attract the best teachers from all over the world. We're not just limiting it just to the UK. There is a lot of attention on quality, ensuring that they've got the best person in front of their children. Yes, I think you've touched on it there. On online events, our online events that we've run have been really successful because we're able to open that to a wider network of teachers. However, we ran an event in Dubai last month, the Leadership Summit, and I would say it's probably my favourite event that we've run. We targeted it specifically at leaders, and that was predominantly middle leaders, senior leaders, executive leaders, and anyone that was looking to work across the GCC. We had candidates that were already working in the GCC present, but then we had candidates flying in from America, the Maldives, Australia, the UK. So 50% of the room were actually coming from outside of Dubai. And I think that really shows a commitment that people want to work in this region. And the fact that we're able to pull people in from different countries from around the world is really exciting. But we had some really amazing school groups present at our event and have made some successful placements off the back of it as well. But I think the most exciting part of what we had to offer is that we're really making a positive impact within the recruitment world. And I think we do things properly. We created an online portal where schools are able to log on and see the details of every single pre-screened candidate with their CV, and that gives them an idea of who they're talking to. But we really put that face-to-face interaction back where they're able to communicate and integrate with school leaders that they possibly never would have the opportunity to do so. So the event was a huge success, and we're off the back of that, we are going to be running a very similar event in January, but specifically for SEND. We're going to be running online, and the reason why we will run it online is because I want inclusion. Inclusion's got a special place in my heart because of my passion with my son George. But I really believe inclusion is on the way up here, and we're working with some amazing organisations across the GCC that are doing some great things. But we really need strong SEND teachers to come to this region. So we're going to put it online. We're going to run it like our leadership summit. We'll make it very educational as well as a recruitment fair. But we're going to be recruiting Senkos, inclusion leaders, SEND teachers, and we really want to kind of put teachers on the market because there are schools that have said they're looking, and there's definitely a demand there as well.
There's something on the events, and this is going to sound ignorant if you've been to lots of these events, so I could be wrong. But one thing I think that we get right at Transform, we give teachers specifically this unique opportunity to get really close to school leaders in a recruitment setting. But it's almost like if you're a teacher and you go to like an education conference where there's no recruitment happening, there's school leaders, there's different people, you network, you talk, you move around. So you get to meet them there. But in a recruitment setting where this person, this director, this principal, this head of HR, they're looking to hire for a role.
Yeah.
And you're in that setting and you're getting to spend time with them, getting to talk to them, have a coffee with them, at our Dubai event, have dinner with them.
Yeah.
Like engage in workshops, like looking beyond the CV, as you say. I think that's so important. It's seeing who the person is, who the actual the person is behind all the the information and the titles and everything that all of these people have done. I think it's just such a unique environment that we create, and I think that's the reason behind our success and very quick growth. I feel like with this rapidly growing company but we haven't lost sense of who we are, that personal touch.
Sure.
And I feel like the feedback we get is really powerful, like from school leaders as well. It's not just teachers saying, "Oh, thank you, I got to get close to a principal," or "I got to see in the flesh a director." It's not like that. It's like even the principals and directors are thanking us.
Yeah.
Because they don't normally get that close to these people in the recruitment phases either.
I think the important thing is we're bringing great educators together in the same room. And do I had a really interesting conversation with one of the schools that were at the event. And what they said to me is usually schools can be very closed in terms of their good practice. And I think we're all here to share the same common goal, which is to create a better education within the region. And if we're able to share good practice, then surely that's a good thing, right? And surely that's only to promote positivity. So I'm all for networking. I think you've hit the nail on the head there with networking. I think it's the crucial part of our role in terms of networking with good people and learning good practice. I think it's really key.
So we've covered the birth of Transform. I think there's going to be one question that people want to know, and I have been asked this before. Transform is a new company. Not only is it a new company, it's new to the region of the GCC. How come big schools, big school groups already trust Transform and work with them? How is this happening so soon? What's the secret?
I think there's a few things that we're very particular with. So when I first started out in the Middle East, I looked at the way things were being done currently. A lot of our competitors are international. They maybe not based over here. And things might not always be done very, very well. I think a simple reason why people will use us is the attention to detail. One, actually going out and visiting the school so we can get an idea of how to best match that teacher. So that's one thing. Two, you're able to really identify who's right for that school or not. But three is the pre-screening process. So when a school asks you for a teacher and you don't pre-screen that school, so whether the school might not want anybody who's got children or might want someone with certain qualifications, if you don't pre-screen the candidate properly, then you're sending irrelevant candidates and you're wasting time. So I think it's important to thoroughly screen our candidates and only send over relevant candidates as well. I know a lot of objections that I get from schools, we don't need to use you because we're already using a preferred organisation. And from this organisation, we get thousands upon thousands of teachers. They may get thousands upon thousands of teachers, but it also gives them thousands upon thousands of workload. I know that Transform can get you thousands upon thousands of teachers as well. But instead of giving you 1,000 teachers worth of workload, I'd rather give you 2 for that relevant role, 2 candidates that are going to be perfect. And we'll probably end up getting you more than that. But my point precisely is that we're going to save you on the workload. And that's been a huge shift in the way schools are thinking about their recruitment strategy. And Transform have come into play, and we're able to deliver on that as well. Over the time, we've had more recommendations, and schools have been so pleased with the way they've received the service from Transform, is that they've recommended us to other organisations as well.
Looking forwards now, 3 to 5 years in the future, what are the big plans for Transform? And not only what are the big plans for Transform, but I suppose more on a macro level, where do you see this region going in terms of the education space, international schools, national schools, teacher recruitment, expats, the lot? Where do you see it going in 3 to 5 years, and how are you planning to grow Transform alongside that change?
Do you know what? My thought process goes on longer than to 3 to 5 years. I look at this as that Transform are here to stay. We're in it for the long haul. I think the business is ready-made for this region. I definitely see growth in all of the countries across the GCC. The UAE has been a good starting place. Qatar's been very enjoyable. Kuwait's a beautiful country and I love it. And so, same with Bahrain and Oman. But the most exciting one for me is the development in Saudi Arabia, in the kingdom. I've been to Riyadh several times last year and to Jeddah. And the growth opportunities within the kingdom are absolutely significant. I do feel that they're moving at such a fast, more rapid rate, shall we say. And the development and need for quality staff is so important. So that's why we really want to focus on that area as well. In terms of outside of the region, there is definitely scope to look at other regions such as the Far East. It's on our horizon, but I would say I like working in the Middle East and I like becoming an expert in this area. Once we've kind of got to another state, then the Far East is definitely on the cards as well.
And I think it comes back to that cultural understanding. One thing I know about anything or anywhere is that you can't expect to just show up and just be the big dog.
No.
It doesn't work like that. And I think you referenced Saudi Arabia. I think a lot of people right now are finding in Saudi Arabia that just because it's growing doesn't mean there's gold there for you.
No.
It's like Saudi Arabia right now is the gold rush.
Yeah.
Everyone's, we go to Riyadh, we go to Jeddah, we spend plenty, I've been there many times this year. And every time you get in a taxi, the taxi driver's telling you the last guy he took, and this was some consultant from this company, that company, what are you guys doing here? And we have partners we have partnerships in Saudi Arabia with companies, and we talk to companies in Saudi Arabia, and we know a lot of what's going on. And there's a big rush at the minute. Now, previously, Saudi was always seen as a place that you go to raise capital and you take it outside. and you bring them a return on their investment or something, like raising capital and investing somewhere else. Saudi's changed now, and Saudi's becoming a place where capital is brought or raised within to be invested within. And there's various different industries at the minute that are growing quite rapidly. Education's a big one, and there's it's a simple correlation. You have more and more people from across the world moving to Saudi Arabia, to Riyadh, to Jeddah, to other areas like Ha'il, Ta'if, Al Jawf, Abha, all the areas, Dammam, East Province, all of them. Their kids need to go to schools. So I think currently there's approximately about 280 international schools in Saudi Arabia, as opposed to like 25,000 national schools, right? Which are for the locals. So that number is only going to rapidly increase over the coming 5-10 years. The ones I see making it in terms of business, if I was to just zoom out and say not just recruitment but business, are those who are going to have the cultural understanding.
Yeah.
It's important to establish partnerships in the region, and it's important to go in with a sense of humility.
Yeah.
There's too many people coming in right now very brash, and they think they're just going to generate print some money and go home. I don't think the Saudis are going to allow that to happen.
No,
and I've been told by people in the region that they don't want that to happen. So I think that's that cultural understanding again. It's like you go into the region with a sense of humility and a willingness to learn and an eagerness to collaborate. If you don't collaborate, this is one thing I've learned from you and from everyone else in this company is collaboration, networking. It's what we bring to the events. You go to the event, like I remember our event in London in April 2024, and there was one guy at the end. He was buzzing, and I thought maybe he got like a job offer. Turns out he didn't get a job offer. He had some interviews, and it was like, we'll see what happens. It's one of those situations. But he was buzzing, and he said to me, I had such a good day. I learnt so much. I met so many different schools, and I made so many new contacts. He said to me, I actually don't care if I don't get a job from today, because you know what? Off the back of this, something's going to happen. This has been that first domino, and there's a domino effect now, and they're all falling. And it's that, keeping the secrets is the complete polar opposite, right? It's like we don't share things, we don't invite things, we're very closed off. I think this openness is like the secret. I think that's maybe the secret sauce here.
I think touching on the culture aspect as well, I think it's very important to realise that the culture in the UAE is very different to the culture in Saudi Arabia. And the way you behave in UAE is very different to the way you behave in Saudi Arabia. And you're dealing with very different people. It's like if you're in the UK, people in Germany are very different to the UK. Just because it's in Europe doesn't make them the same kind of people. So it's very important to realise with each country we're working with within the GCC, culturally, how should we behave? And culturally, how should we behave as a business? And that's very important. But I think the fundamental here is recruitment. And I honestly believe that we're the best at what we do. This might sound very arrogant, but I actually believe that if you want a good teacher, we're the best place to come. Because I know we're going to find you the best teacher that's going to be relevant for your school. And I think that's the difference, really. Schools want confidence that you're going to do a job. They're coming to you to find you them teachers, and that's exactly what we're going to do. And we're going to find you the right teachers, whether it be easy to fill jobs or really hard to fill jobs. We'll go above and beyond in searching not just the UK, but the globe for the right teacher for their school.
And there's a really interesting point, which is the screening process. So talk us through that, because on our events, whether it's in person or online, whether it's a free event, whether it's a paid event, you can't just get a ticket. You can't just show up.
No.
Talk about that.
So the screening process, as I said, we get thousands of candidates applying every single day. The first and foremost is the qualifications. So they must have the right qualifications. We predominantly work with English-speaking schools, so that could be British curriculum, it could be American curriculum, IB curriculum. So having experience in one of these curriculums is absolutely crucial. Generally, with an IB curriculum school, they're looking for people with IB curriculum experience, with PYP or whatever it may be. With British curriculum schools, they're looking for people with GCSE experience and A-level experience. And that's the crucial part of it on the secondary side of it. And with the primary side of it, it's a bit more straightforward. And obviously, American curriculum, they're looking for Common Core experience. So what we do, we collate with the schools that we have coming to our event, and we really look at the experience as well as the qualifications to match up. If that matches up, then they get shortlisted to our pre-screen form. Every single one of those candidates will then get a phone call from our team and start questioning, why do they want to move to the Middle East? What's in the next move? What are your salary expectations? Who's moving with you? Do you have family moving with you? Do you have children? So it gives us an idea and a picture of, okay, the candidate we're going to be placing, we know their motivations for moving. Is it money motivations? Is it family motivations? Is it cultural? And all these things build a really good picture of how to best place this teacher. Everyone has a great home.
And that's potentially the transform difference.
Yeah.
Not to get too obsessed with slogans, but it's the transform difference, because it's, we hear it all the time from school leaders and heads of HR, and they say it's like recruitment is a headache. It's you're going through CVs, you're trying to shortlist, you're trying to book interviews, you're trying to do X, Y, Z. When schools work with Transform, it's like the people they are going to end up talking to, the candidates they're going to end up talking to, have gone through so many rounds of screening, and the consultant, the team member who is working with this school, has spent so much time understanding their needs. Not just academic needs, like you said as well. It's like cultural needs, the school ethos, everything, the practicalities of family and so on and so forth. Because, if you're in the job industry, it's just how it is. Certain jobs have specific requirements. Some positions are not going to be as family friendly as others. And that's just how it goes. I just think it's better to accept that and go for what's best for you. With Transform, it's like it's made straightforward for you. So on the candidate side, it's like you're not going to get put forward for a role. You're not going to be able to attend an event, firstly, or be put forward unless you have the minimum requirements, because you're not going to get placed. It's a waste of your time and everyone else's time. But secondly, if you're getting shortlisted for a role, it's because this role, according to your needs and your wants, is ideal. It's a best fit. I don't think there's any such thing as 100% perfection. I think there's always going to be flaws in any role, in any business, in any school. There's always going to be an area of imperfection. But from the school side, it's like, hey, we've got this position. I'll make it up. It's a secondary German teacher and needs to be a male. It's a Saudi Arabian school, because they'll have these kind of requirements. That's what we need. They need to have 2 years experience, ideally native German speaker with extremely fluent English, culturally understands Saudi, and is willing to live in Riyadh, and here's the package details. Khalas, that comes to the team. The team take that, they go away, and then they bring back, okay, here's option A, here's option B, and here's option C. These are the top 3 out of 20 that we headhunted or went through the event. We recommend A first, then B, then C. Who would you like to talk to? Book the interviews, get the feedback, they handle the candidate side, everything. So it's that ease, right?
But do you know why I think it is the ease as what you describe? I think it all comes down to our core values. And our core values are transparency, integrity, and in simplicity. So everybody that we've hired to date must adhere or must buy into those values in everything they do, in personal life, in work life, when dealing with candidates, when dealing with schools. So if a school calls us and says, right, and Mark, I need a physics teacher, and I haven't got a physics teacher right now, I'll be transparent with them. I'll say, listen, at the moment, I haven't got anyone. Physics teachers like gold dust, but what I am going to do for you is this, and this. And I'm going to make sure I find you a physics teacher, and I'll get back to you within a couple of days of how I'm getting on. And it's that communication part of it as well. So transparency is absolutely crucial. Integrity comes from ensuring that the best possible candidate is in the best possible role for the school. And that comes down to presenting only relevant candidates as well. And actually really caring about what they do. Because essentially, every single teacher that we place in front of those children is going to make such an positive impact. And for our consultants to really understand that positive impact, it's not just about another placement. It's not just about another commission check. It's about, right, actually, I've placed 100 teachers this year that are making so much a positive impact on so many people and so many children. And that, for me, is the integral part of it. But then simplicity. Everything we do, we follow our steps to simplify the process. We don't want to overcomplicate the situation. We don't want to give irrelevant CVs or waste irrelevant time. We want to make it so streamlined that, I mean, you ask, why do our schools want to come to us? It's just a simple process that we want to streamline to make sure it's most efficient.
And, obviously one day the company will be so big, it will be, things will change. Inshallah. But it'll get there when we get there. But for now, it's exciting. And massively onwards and upwards. And
do you know what? I definitely resonate with every single word that you said here. I think the most important thing to remember is that what we're doing is very enjoyable. I love it, and the business is growing. The dynamics are changing, but the moral purpose remains the same in terms of making a better education for students. And I think that is going to remain our common goal throughout the whole process. No matter how big we get, it won't change who we are and what we believe in. And our values will always remain transparency, integrity, and simplicity. And that won't change.
Okay, so really enjoyable conversation. For people listening, school leaders, school reps, teachers, what is the best way to get in touch with Mr. Marc Ashford?
Wow, you can get me on my LinkedIn page, which will be displayed below, I'm hoping.
Click.
Like and subscribe, as my kids would love to see. They're addicted to YouTube. They'll see me on camera right now, and they'll be absolutely loving this. Daddy, I love it. Where do I like and subscribe? So, I mean, not that my kids are addicted to their iPads. Oh, they better do. Yeah. Definitely. Oh, yes. They'll be looking at what filters can they put on, like a I don't know, a dog head on my face or something.
Screenshots.
Absolutely.
My kids love to do screenshots, and then they draw like funny.
Oh yes, definitely.
It's good stuff. Yeah, so LinkedIn.
Yeah,
and I think LinkedIn in general is like the place to get hold of Transform, isn't it? It's like we're all the team are like fully accessible on LinkedIn. And all of our emails and contact information present as well.
And of course on the website as well. The website, we're going through a bit of a rebrand at the moment, and we really want to, going back to our core values, simplify what is on offer. And we really want to have as much information, but in a simple way, how to find jobs, how to approach any of the team, and social media activities as well.
So if you go to www.transformrecruitment.com, you have everything you need.
Perfect.
We hope you enjoyed tuning into today's episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to be the first to know of upcoming episodes. And if you're an educational professional looking to work abroad, or perhaps a school organisation looking to hire exceptional talent, then head over to www.transformrecruitment.com, where you can find out more information about our services and get in touch.